Barrels Banter are here live from the Stalking Show. Sarah, Miles and
Celine from Wintercombe are bringing you confessions from people of their time in the field. It's live and it's just a confessions special.
so we are going around, we are on the hunt for the juiciest stories. So let's go and see what we can find.
Prepare yourselves, people.
So I have managed to track down Aidan Brown and he has a confession for us, or a funny story. What have you got, Aidan?
Well, I was stalking once and I turned around and I caught two people shagging on my thermal. And instead of walking away, I decided to film it. It was quite awkward because a few days later I found out who it was, and they're both married, but not to each other.
Oh, you knew the people?
I did know them eventually, yes.
Did you submit your thermal footage as evidence?
No, I sent it to the landowner, and we had a laugh around the pub about it.
You didn't send it to the wife then?
No, because I know him.
Oh.
He's a good friend.
Oh.
His missus isn't that nice.
Ah. You stayed and watched, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
You had a good night.
Well, yeah, I didn't do anything about it, though. I just stayed and watched. This is just very awkward when you're out on Fox Patrol and doing vermin, and you don't really expect to turn around and see people, He was giving it as well.
He was giving it?
Yeah.
What positions, Aidan?
Well, as I slewed around and I seen people on the golf course, I was like, they shouldn't be there. Then I seen another person behind that first person, it shouldn't have been there. And he let down and she played buck and bronco, we'll say that. And then he wrapped her legs around him and the tree was involved as well. It's a nice tree.
The poor tree.
Yeah, it wasn't just leaking sap, it was everywhere.
Have you been back to check that the tree is okay? Imagine if a tree hugger comes along for that tree now.
There's an owl's nest above it as well.
Are you going to give him a rating out of 10?
I wouldn't have given her one, now I know who it is.
Oh, okay. Performance rating?
Very hot on the thermal.
5 out of 10? 4 out of 10?
Yeah, it would be low.
Oh,
she's a
okay.
pig.
Could do better.
Definitely he could.
Oh, okay. She's a pig.
But it's Kai from Game of Flames.
How you doing? You okay? Nice to see you both, actually. I think last time I saw you both, actually, we were pheasant shooting on your shoot, weren't we?
Last time you saw us both, you were pheasant shooting and we were making noise.
What noise were you making?
Bangs in the air. We weren't actually pheasant shooting. We were just making some noise and hoping for the best. You were the one that was pheasant shooting very well, by all accounts.
I had a great time. That last drive was absolutely superb. That's probably one of the best drives I've done in a very, very long time, if ever.
I thought it was shit.
So you want a juicy story?
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, quite a few years back now, was out stalking in the early morning. And it's the story that he's told me a few times. So he was out stalking and he was on a hill looking at a group of deer, assessing to take a shot. And then all of a sudden there's a bunch of dogs that come behind him, and there's a lovely looking dog walker with a friend. He made conversation and there was a lot of chemistry and everyone got on really, really well and everything was fine. And then the bottom of the line of the story, the three of them ended up in a car, and in the late morning having some fun on the farm, to put it lightly. I'm not going to give you all the details away that he's told me.
Not going to give as many details as maybe Aidan did about what he viewed through his thermal, but we've got some. That's a good story.
But yeah, one of the best mornings that he's had in his life, apparently.
He bagged more than he intended that day.
He did, but he didn't shoot the deer though.
Oh, it's a shame. He could have had everything, but alas, other females took over.
It is. So
I feel like he could have done that at the same time and pulled the trigger personally. I feel like he needs to up his game here in multitasking. I feel like he could have been on the rifle and possibly doing that at the same time.
I feel like he's let the community down. I think as a community, we should actually be a bit ashamed to be associated with this person.
I would agree. Absolutely horrendous. And I said to him, how could he do that? It's despicable. However, I did ask him if he did unload his bolts properly before entertaining the ladies.
And was his bolt firmly unloaded by the time he'd finished?
Twice, apparently.
Found somebody else for a confession. This person is going to remain anonymous, which means it's going to be juicy. What have you got for us?
So when we were kids, we were doing a bit of target shooting in my friend's back garden, and I thought the safety was on the air rifle. Big mistake. We've all made mistakes. And I shot my friend in the stomach.
Oh!
In the stomach, yes. And
Not in the butt.
No, in the stomach, and he did have to go to A&E and have it removed. And we had to say that he shot himself, so the police didn't get involved.
How do you shoot yourself in the stomach?
Well, the hospital kind of knew that it was someone else that had shot him, but we didn't want the police. We were only 11. So, yeah, we didn't want the police to get involved. So,
Have we learnt a lesson here?
yes, never think, even when the safety's on, your safety's your finger, and that's it.
So there's a plus side to it.
Yeah,
You've
there's
now
a plus
learnt
side.
you learnt the hard way, but you've learnt a very good
Well, my
lesson.
friend learned the hard way.
Yeah, you were fine.
I didn't. I was good, so yes.
Thank you to your friend for teaching you a good lesson.
Here we are at the Stalking Show with another confession.
So we were out one evening foxing, and I wanted, after we'd shot a fox, I wanted to check the quality, see if it had any disease, anything, just get a better look at it. But it was dark, so we decided to drive it down the country lane and have a look at it under a street light. Opened the back of the truck up, had a look, okay, great. Wasn't really an appropriate place to be ditching a fox, so I said to my son, when we get on the road a little bit further down, I'll slow down when there's a good spot, sling it out the window and make sure it ends up in the ditch out of sight of everybody. As we were doing that, a car pulled up behind me, so I thought I'll slow down and I'll let the car pass. The car didn't pass and carried on slowing down to almost 10 mile an hour that we were doing as well. I then seen it was a police car, so I thought, okay, best not to be throwing a fox out the window, into the farmer's field with a police car behind me. So said, hang on a minute, let the car pass, slowed right down, the police car eventually ended up overtaking and going away. I then said to my son, okay, you can now throw the fox out the window. He went, I already have. And I went, and when did you do that? He went, just a minute ago. I said, what? When I said don't throw the fox, he went, I thought you said throw it. So I thrown the fox out the window right in front of a police officer.
Oh my God.
No, I don't think he's seen or whatever. It was dark, so I don't think the police officer seen, and I think we got away with that one quite lightly, because that would have been some awkward questioning.
Another confession from the Stalking Show.
Hello, my name's Sarah Miles. So, I'm at the Stalking Show and it's brought back some traumatic memories for me. So, one year, I don't think it was last year, maybe the year before, I thought it was a bright idea to bring all the kids. Lovely family day out and all that. How wrong was I? My little boy was probably only 4 at the time, so not really his scene, kind of bored. Anyway, we're mooching up and down the aisles looking at stuff, and he was off in the distance. Next thing I know, he turned and just came running towards me. And I thought he was just going to run and lovingly jump into my arms. However, how wrong was I? He ran towards me, and my child's never bitten before. But in this moment, he ran towards me and decided to latch onto my vag like a fucking pit bull. He bit me in the vag so hard that I let out a yelp. Everybody looked, and it took all my strength not to batter my own child in front of hundreds of people. When you're just in pure shock and it's just like instant reaction as this pit bull type child is hanging off my vag with his teeth. Needless to say, my child's not here with me this year.
And never will be again. We're here for a Stalking Show confession, and you've got one for us.
Yeah, I have. You might know it.
Oh my God, please don't let it be about me.
It weren't actually you, but it was a friend. So we were shooting in Scotland together, that big lovely trips that we were doing. On the particular drive, he knows who he is, so if he watches this, I'm sorry. So we were stood in the drive, coming over. He was directly to my right, and I see him get a little bit forward to have a shot of a bird, pull through. He had not eaten something lovely the night before.
Oh, I know where we're going.
The explanation was pull the trigger, rumble through the whole body, and out it goes. and he goes to this log that's in front of us. I spent 3/4 of the drive shooting at him while he's got his cacks down over this log, staring at me. I just look at it. But I found it funny, but at the same time I felt sorry for him because he's got his wife there looking after him. He's trying to get his trousers all sorted. So he took his trousers off. Two of us gave our coats over so he could do his front and back. And then until one of the lads had a spare breeks in his car.
I do remember this, but I wasn't there for that bit. I know exactly who it is. And the bit that I remember was us driving along the main road to this drive with the fir trees. Yeah. And as we're driving along, we look behind us and we're like, well, where have they gone? And then when you caught up with us, the words were, I've never seen that much vomit come out of one person's body at the side of the road. And he literally jumped back in the car, didn't he? Shot down to there. I think we'd pumped him full of Imodium at lunchtime because he'd come.
To be fair to him, fair play. Luckily it happened to a good guy like that who could handle it. But yeah, that's probably, struggling with a PTSD for years if you didn't know.
The most astonishing thing for me, though, was that he then shot the next day, having been sick all night, absolutely, completely normally, sat down at lunch and just tucked in.
Yeah, what a legend. What a legend.
We have a confession from the Stalking Show.
Hello. So I do a lot of picking up. And I was picking up on an estate. A load of young farmers were picking up, and I desperately needed to wee. So the drive had finished. I was like, right, I'll sweep this wood back, don't pick up any ducks that I need. I'd already had a game bag full. I was like, right, they're all the way up the hill. I'll have a wee. So undid my belt, dropped my tweeds, game bag off, having a wee, duck flies out, game bag. Dogs, get on. Anyway, they did pick it in the end. I was running up the field after duck, just in case, hoping that the young farmers weren't behind me. Anyway, they were not behind me. Pants pulled up, duck in game bag, job done. No one knows.
I bet that is the quickest you have ever put your trousers back on whilst running.
Well, yeah, it is, definitely.
Multitasking at its finest, running and doing yourself up at the same time.
A friend of mine once had a duck and she put it down on the floor and didn't realise it was fine. It wasn't like it hadn't been shot. She just put it down on the floor. She didn't realise her dog lead had fallen off of her neck and the duck flew off with her dog lead over the back of the duck. And it was just flying across the valley with the dog lead. Basically, the duck went through the trees and thankfully the dog lead got caught in one of the branches. So we all ended up having to hike all the way down the hill. I swear nobody would ever believe it, but there was 4 or 5 of us that were stood there as she was screaming, my dog lead! And we were like, what's going on with the duck? When we all obviously realised at the end. You got to see it to believe it.
You have, and you had to be there. Yeah. You really did have to be. No, you didn't have to be there, actually. That would have been great.
I think one of those really weird things, though, is whenever I sit my dogs up, they just sit up normally. Great, wonderful. But yet, if I walk away from them, they're still sat there. If I squat down, why do they all need to sit on my lap?
Mine do exactly the same. It's like, and if you want your dog to come back, it doesn't come back. But when you don't want it there, they're there when you're trying to do eat. But I have come up with a genius idea. We recently practiced steadiness with the puppies. I say puppies, they're really not anymore. Where we jump around and flap our arms and twirl around. Still puppies. We're missing a trick. Why are we not getting them to sit and stay while we do squat wee poses?
We have not conditioned these dogs well. We need to condition our dogs to deal with us having a wee.
Yeah. We need to go out training, sit the dogs up, and just keep pretending we're going for a wee and make sure they don't move.
Come on then, Beggar Bush. Where is this in your dog training thing, huh?
So we are with James Adam Ford, and he has got a little story for us about something that happened on your shooting range.
Yeah, so we were, checking zeroing a rifle in one day, and just happened to notice that a couple of male walkers veered off the public footpath and ended up stopping us shooting because they decided to use the back of a bush as a romantic spot, shall we say. Continued to do so with a lot more stamina and energy than I've ever had, and we had to stand there and watch it all. Well, maybe we didn't. I said it was for safety reasons. But we had to stand there for half hour and let them finish until they walked away again. We could commence shooting again.
And how did you know he'd finished, James?
They gave each other a hug.
I'm here interviewing Celine from Wintercombe Labradors. She has a story for us.
Oh, I don't know if I want my name on this, but I will. It was my friend. So
She's lying.
my friend may have had an issue one day where she was driving up one of the steepest hills in Surrey, and she broke down because she ran out of diesel. In doing so, she had her 6-week-old baby in the car, which she managed to take out of the car seat and put the car seat on the side of the road with the 6-week-old baby. Tried to roll down the hill, but didn't actually achieve it. So it ended up now diagonally across the steepest road in that part of Surrey. I ended up... Oh, it wasn't I. I'm so sorry. My friend ended up stuck across the road. Then a policeman came, and the policeman came to direct traffic around her because she had caused so much traffic carnage. She, the friend, rang her husband and said, I have got a bit of a problem. I've broken down and run out of diesel. So he filled up a jerry can with red diesel just to come to her aid, very briefly. In coming to her aid, he turned up to the car to pull the red diesel in to find the policeman stood next to the gap and said, any chance you could take him to the other side of the car and have a chat with him about your wheels or something while I tip 5 litres of red in to get you home. My friend...
Very descriptive. Very well remembered from the story that your friend told
My
you.
friend was very grateful to her husband of the time.
So one of the marvellous things about working in the shooting world is the people that you meet. You meet some incredible characters. And one story that I still laugh at now when I think about it was we used to have a chap who used to come. He was a neighbouring keeper. He was a hill farmer's son, and he loved his food. And on the morning before a grouse day, he would be there in good time. His flask would come out, open up his bait box, he'd have something to eat. Bait box, it was a good-sized bait box. It was the old-fashioned Flora margarine boxes, nothing too expensive because it's from Yorkshire. And then we would get in the beater's trailer, we'd go up onto the mower, we'd get up there in good time before the guns arrived, and Pete would open up, he'd have a bit more of his box, have a bit more tea, we'd do the first drive, and then we'd have lunch somewhere on the mower. And this was a routine, and this was day in, day out, like clockwork. And then one day, Pete hadn't arrived. Couldn't understand where Pete was, he's normally one of the first there. And then just before we set off, Pete comes coming in with his vehicle, jumps out of his vehicle, his tie's half done, one of his brakes is hanging down, he's got his packed lunch box, and come on Pete, get in the wagon, come on Pete, get in the wagon. And he never had time for his fast, never had time for his second breakfast. He got in, and all he could talk about was he'd missed his breakfast, and he was worried, we'll have someone get to the top. By the time we got to the top, the guns were getting in the butts. We hadn't got time to stop. Pete had missed his breakfast, missed his second breakfast, even missed his snack before the first drive. And we're all like laughing at him. And eventually it gets to lunchtime, and all he was talking about was he couldn't wait to get his lunch. And we all sat down for lunch, and he pulls out his bait box out of his bag, rips open the top of his Flora margarine tub, and it's full of Flora margarine. He'd pulled the wrong one out of the fridge. Well, the look on the poor man's face was unbelievable. Anyway, being good souls, we all donated him a little bit of our lunch.
I'm with Alex at the Stalking Show from Hunter Gatherer Cooking, and he has a confession for us. Fire away, Alex.
It's not a confession. Well, it is probably a confession, actually. So we were in the field. We were 1 hour into a 3-day video shoot with Freya and Davik. The first shoot had gone exceptionally well, and we said, you go on, we'll catch you up. I then got in the back of the UTV, and we drove up the hill, and Stuart decided to brake test. And of course, I called him a rude name. And then I said, wouldn't that be great if I was to roll down the bonnet for social media purposes?
Oh, nice.
So we all agreed that this was definitely a safe and legal thing to do. And then we built up quite some speed, but instead of a roll, it was more of a launch.
It was like a catapult projectile of Alex.
Of the pelvis out of alignment, and a triple spinal whiplash. So I had...
Hang on, I need to just stop you there. I think what we actually are looking at is you laying in hospital saying, I'm going to have to learn to walk again.
Well, no, the problem was, because now I've learned that my pelvis was both out of alignment, I couldn't lift my leg. I physically... So to walk. I had to grab my jeans and lift my leg like that. It was awful. And turning over in bed. If you imagine we're in bed together now, to turn over, I had to literally grab that and turn it. It's awful.
I've actually had that before, to be
Yeah.
fair. I had to go to a chiropractor.
So
But I didn't post it on the internet and tell everyone that I had to learn to walk again.
Whenever I think we've just found a gold mine.
Yes!
When I was a beekeeper and I just started off, I was very sort of wide-eyed, taking it all in, all the characters that you'd meet. And on the shows I was on, it was commercial at the time, and we used to get some pickers up, and there were miners who actually should be mining, but they weren't mining. They'd come picking up instead. So they were quite straightforward talking people. And one of the guns turned round and said to one of the pickers up, "Oh, I hope I don't shoot you." And he shouted down, "Well, you better bloody kill me."
We've got a good dog story to come.
So I was sending my dog for a retrieve on a gun dog scurry, and I thought he was going to go straight over the bales and pick the dummy and come back, as he'd done at home and in training. And they fired a dummy launcher in a competition in the ring next to it, and he landed on top of the first bale, jumped out of the arena, went and picked that dummy, jumped back over the bales and back to me. He did deliver to hand, but it was the wrong dummy.
What was the competition next door?
It was the internationals. So international trials at the game fair.
Maybe he just wanted to upgrade himself.
Yeah, I think he thought that he was a crossbreed, so I think he had a chip on his shoulder, thinking that actually he could do what the Labradors were doing.
I'd say he won. Yeah. Top points.